Καλησπέρα. Hello, everyone. If we are ready, this panel's topic is sustainable farming today, the catalytic role of Agtech. And we are here to discuss the challenge of reducing carbon emissions, the role of sustainable agriculture, nature-based solutions, and reforestation. How new technologies can enable efficiency in farming and nature as a supplier for our economy, while conserving resources and addressing climate change. We will be explaining the topic from the perspective of crop loss prevention and alternative protein development and CO2 emissions reduction. Let me mention just a few statistics. The estimated population will reach 9.7 billion by 2050, according to the United Nations, while crop losses in the Eastern Mediterranean and Caucasus are projected between 10 to 25% as a result of climate change and associated pests. Today with us, we have Mr. Nick Kanopoulos, founder and CEO of Brite Solar. It's a nanomaterials company utilizing innovative materials and deposition techniques to deliver a new class of glass materials for building construction. These materials either save energy in the case of dynamic glass or generate energy in the case of solar glass. Hello. We also have Mr. Vassilis Stenos, founder and CEO of Solmeyea. It's an hybrid agro-biotech company intersecting with clean tech, biotech, and agriculture. Solmeyea's biotech team produces through hybrid vertical microalgae farming, functional proteins, and high-value bio-based products for food, feed, and farm applications. And also Mr. Stamatis Diavatidis, co-founder and CFO of FarmAIr. It's a plant stress management tech company. FarmAIr is specializing in crop protection and particularly in the early and accurate detection of biotic and abiotic plant stress. I will be your moderator. Thank you for being here today. Let's begin with a short round of questions. Mr. Kanopoulos, let's start with you. How does solar glass contribute towards food security? May that be through crop protection, dual use of land, water conservation, reduction of CO2 footprint, or reduction of pesticide needs?
Okay. I will start from a comment you made about the UN prediction for the population increase to 2050. That's 9.7 billion people. In order to feed these many people, we have to increase food production by 70 to 100% compared to today's levels. This is not sustainable because if we try to do that with conventional means, then that we have to essentially destroy all forests on Earth. So we have to use technology in order to increase the food production yield. And this technology is available today and addresses the nexus of food, water, and energy. That's what we are facing, and this is the area where technological solutions will have a major impact. That technology is greenhouse farming. The reason for that is that greenhouse farming increases the food production yield by 10 times while consuming 10 times less water. So we can address the food availability while we are using less water, but we have to resolve the third factor in the nexus, which is energy. Greenhouse farming uses 10 times the energy of open field farming. Therefore, that part makes it unsustainable for massive deployment. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve this problem. By the way, agriculture today consumes 70% of water and 14% of energy globally. Therefore, we cannot double agricultural production because there's not going to be any water for people to drink. And most of the energy consumed is based on fossil fuels, and therefore it has a detrimental effect on the environment. So what we're trying to do with our technology is we developed this semi-transparent solar panel, which can be used as a canopy over greenhouses, where we essentially resolve the energy problem by having solar energy support the energy needs of the greenhouse and make the greenhouse energy autonomous, or if you want, the CO2 footprint per kilogram of food produced in the greenhouse, 0 or negative. We have results, for example, for grape production, where it's minus 15 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram of grapes produced in a greenhouse, experimental greenhouse we did with Chandalis, the largest winemaker in Greece. And this is how we address the problem. The problem is the energy production or the food production at an exponentially higher yield.
Thank you. That's interesting, certainly. Let's move to Mrs. Vassilis Stenos. In your experience, what have been the main hindrances in penetrating customer needs and creating a food ingredient that is both nutritious and palatable? What, in your view, is the factor in your plant-based protein product that makes the difference?
Also for the opportunity for having me here. Hear my voice. I didn't watch any Super Bowl or football game, but my voice is still off. So in any case, alternative proteins, it's a very big topic. We deal with vertical microalgae farming, and we produce technically microalgal biomass. This biomass is way more functional, nutritional, and beneficial, let's say, for everyone, for human beings, moreover for the animals. But the main problem, as you said, the main obstacle is to educate people, inform them about how good that is, and how, yes, it can benefit technically all the different customer segments that we have so far penetrated or trying to. Aside from how beneficial this is, we rely a lot on the younger generations, millennials, Generation Zers. Those guys, thankfully, are more aware, if not more better educated, at least aware of the trends. And they all like the concept of sustainability. So it is a new trend. Being green is a new trend again. They do care about what they wear, what they eat, what they listen, how they commute to be sustainable. So if only you try to inspire the younger ones to adopt those new plant-based sort of eating habits, relying on microalgae, soy, beans, whatsoever, but alternative, sustainable proteins, that's what can help us convince them about how good it is, aside of how directly beneficial it is for their health and for their longevity. I need to further emphasize on what dear Nick just mentioned. Yes, we need more and more food sources to feed us all. And based on the very correct numbers that both of you used, we need extra, to further illustrate the point, extra 3 Brazils. So we do not have extra 3 Brazils. So we do need to grow our stuff vertically, and we need energy-producing greenhouses, not to flatter Nick. I wasn't fortunate enough yet to work with him. I have been professionally flirting with him for quite some time, and I bet, please mark my words, we'll work together, hopefully soon. But those greenhouses are miraculously good. They're innovative. And yes, they help us a lot produce raw materials, food proteins, that have a negative carbon energy footprint. About the carbon, I'm fully covered, but also the energy is a very important thing that we're constantly being asked from the investors and also from big companies like Danone. That's all for now.
It's a big cost. Well, thank you. And Mr. Stamatis Diavatidis, now, please explain to us what is plant stress and how early detection via FarmAIr technology can prevent crop loss and contribute to sustainable agriculture.
Okay. Well, plant stress can be caused by abiotic factors like heat, cold, flooding, drafting, imbalances of nutrients or salt, or by biotic factors like pathogens, insects, and herbivores. Unfortunately, plant stress is increasing production costs and is reducing both the quality and the quantity of the final output. What is more, pathogens are not detectable or are used not to be detectable in the early years of infection. And technologies currently available in the market like vegetation indices, ground sensors, were not able to address the problem early. They were just able to assert the problem when it was evident or would soon become evident. It was known in the academic world since the 80s that the first symptom of a stressed plant, due to any kind of stress, it is the stomatial closure of its leaves, and consequently the increase of the temperature. And this can be addressed by thermal cameras. The next stage is the decrease of the chlorophyll content, which is addressed by multispectral cameras, which is used by the competition, let's say. And the last symptom is when the symptoms are already evident, so you can see it by the naked eye or by any plain camera. The technology that we are using, we combine thermal cameras together with optical RGB cameras, machine learning, and artificial intelligence in order to see what no one else could see until today. We can detect plant stress on a leaf level long before any symptom becomes visible to the naked eye. And in some cases, like in trunk diseases, as early as 2, 3 years ahead. At this point, maybe I will give you an example also of the benefits of early detection. Iskite is a trunk disease, non-curable. Mainly, you can see it in Europe or Mediterranean, but the same disease also is present in California, USA, called PIRS. This disease distracts the flow of the water inside the vessels of the plant, and because it's not curable, you have to replace it, and you have no other way to face it. Also, although it is infected, the symptoms are evident after 2 or 3 years. The cost of ISCA, according to UC Davis, is roughly €2,000 per hectare per year, without taking into consideration the replacement cost, as well as the time needed for the new plants in order to produce new fruits. Also in 2014, in France, they were lost due to ISCA 100,000 hectares, a cost of roughly €1 billion. We take also into consideration that the cost of production of vineyards ranges from 1,800 to 4,000 euros per hectare per year. And if you combine all the data that I gave you, we can provide early detection, and we can save time and valuable effort, and net, including the services, the cost of our services, of 35% of average for that particular disease. So all in all now, growers have the time to react to cure infected plants, to prevent contamination of the healthy fields, in line with European CAP and with sustainability goals of FAO, for better life, better nutrition, better production. And
I clearly see a synergy between all of your answers. Would anyone like to address if you have explored any synergies with other ground sensors? For example, the introduction of thermal cameras in bright solar glass installations. Nick and Stamatis, if you like. Is there a synergy between you two?
Well, may I start? I mean, we are currently addressing directly growers, which through our platform they can use our actionable data in order to react. But also we are addressing indirectly growers through other Agtech companies like UGVs, smart tractors, i.e., spraying drones, UAVs, and even greenhouses or vertical farms, which they can install our sensors and have either the early detection of plant stress, or to improve the efficiency of their services, like using targeted fertilization, targeted irrigation, and spraying. We are also pursuing opportunities with insurance companies that could better manage insurance claims and insurance premiums, or with other Agtech companies of inputs, which could cooperate with our R&D department in order either to improve or to promote better their products.
From your part?
What we're discussing so far is we're trying to impact the environment through CO2 emissions avoidance. I believe that in order to have a greater impact and actually modify the weather in a way that doesn't cause the disasters we see every year, we need essentially a net sequestration of CO2. And with Vassilis, there is a very good synergy because, and also a business case, because there is technology today that can capture CO2 from the atmosphere. The technology is not mature cost-wise, but technically it can happen. Then the plant that uses CO2 the most in cultivating, in farming, is algae. However, to grow algae, you need energy. We can provide clean energy for that, and also for the machines that capture the CO2. And then after algae is grown, you can use it for building materials. Therefore, in other words, to make roads, bricks, and stuff like that. So you can have a net sequestration of CO2, net removal of CO2 at the existing levels from the atmosphere. And also there's a good business case here because you can monetize definitely the selling of the building material and also the CO2 credits from the removal of the CO2 from the atmosphere. So yes, there is a synergy, and with Vassilis we plan to have some cooperation.
That was something I wanted to ask Vassilis, if there's something to be explored, the possibility to use solar glass in vertical farming.
Okay, I need to go half a step backwards. We are here as part of the impact investment, and that's the main concept, and I really respect that. So yes, I've been studying about the CO2 for almost a decade. When I graduated in 2012, everybody was perceiving me as a crazy guy, and that's why I had to shut my mouth out. 10 years down the road, now is the time, there are proper timing about the CO2. There are two ways. You either dump it into empty oil wells, so you sequester, but this cannot happen in areas like Turkey, Greece, or California, tend to shake a bit. So in seismogenic locations, that's not a way. Instead, we can utilize. Utilizing CO2 means you rely on photosynthesis. Algae ends up absorbing way more CO2 than any other forest, let's call it. And if only I can make a parenthesis so you all may remember me, we end up producing food proteins 29 times faster than Mother Nature, just because of how intensively we do it, using no GMO, no bad ways. So the synergy, yes, can come with Nikos, because everybody worries about how energy demanding or not that demanding is your produced kilogram of biomass and how sustainable this process can be. We're fortunate to collaborate with EIT, European Institute of Technology, the food cluster, and that's how we built in Demokritos our first pre-industrial demo-scale facility of 1,000 square meters. We couldn't use Nikos in this one, but the next facility that needs to happen, thanks to the EU's and Greece's, Greek states' incentives for the degreenitization era in Ptolemais, Tripoli, Megalopoli, Kozani, in any of those locations, we can end up acting at first as a CO2 absorber of those big guys, emitting tons of CO2 as part of their business models. But we need someone to shadow a bit through the canopy our algae, keep them happy, let them grow fast, 29 times, produce raw materials suitable for us, for the pets, for the animals, for pharmacosmetics and biofuels later on, as well as the building block materials.
Well, from what I see, that's the ideal closing for this panel. Finding the synergies and common action points between all of you.
No, I need to further inspire us all to work more about the CO2.
Well, it's the best case scenario to do that. Successful collaborations almost always leads to multiplying results. I am happy we have reached a happy outcome. If we have any questions, we have a couple of minutes.
No inspiration.
I see one over there. If you can have a microphone.
Well, I can speak probably loud enough.
No, please.
Yes, you can.
Thank you. I'd like to know if you cooperate, Mr. Kanopoulos, with the OET industry that is starting in Thessaloniki now with the flexible, transparent solar panels.
No, I don't, because that industry is based on organic photovoltaics. Organic photovoltaics have very low efficiency and very low reliability, and they are not products yet. So the aspiration or the ambition there is to create a product rather than deploy a product. Our technology is much more mature, has been already deployed, it's producing results, and we are in the process of even bringing the manufacturing here in Greece. We are going to have a factory in Patras operating in the beginning of 2024. So that is something that it is, I would say, completely different. And in my opinion, based on published data, it will be very difficult to be a commercial product.
Have any other questions? Are we okay? Okay, thank you very much for your time. Thank you, everybody.